Hey there, Citizen Pal here, and welcome back. It's time for another Star Citizen video, but this one's going to be quite a bit different, at least from what I've been doing for the last 8 months. Today, we're actually going to be looking into what we know about the finances of Star Citizen, hence everything on the right here. This is known, given to us directly from them through the end of 2017. We're then going to do some estimates on 2018, and then finally some speculation into 2019 into 2020, the release of Squadron 42. Before we go too much further, everything will be in the links down below, all these different stuff. I will actually try and take my little spreadsheet here I've put together, and if I can, I will copy and paste this into a Google document where you'll be able to go in, see, and do all that yourself if you want to double check where my numbers come from and everything. So all that'll be there. We also going to, like I said, we're going to break this video down. The first top part here is pretty much known. So we get this directly from them. There's a little bit of estimated stuff in here for the second part, and then the speculation at the end. So we'll try and keep that all separated out. More importantly, though, this video is going to draw probably a lot of eyes, a lot more than I normally get on videos, because there's going to be something to the effect of Star Citizen Finances, a deep breakdown or whatever will be the title of this. And it's not going to be clickbait, as you can see, we're talking about that. But that title is going to draw both the ardent defenders of the game, but also the naysayers. So things are going to get a little crazy. I'm going to moderate the comments on this video pretty closely. If you have legitimate complaints about either the information I've shown, my take on it, or just the game development in general, I'm going to leave that. But when you start attacking actual people for their opinions or whatever, you know, we don't need that right now. This is just going to be a discussion. So, you know, keep it civil down in discussions down below. I will, if anything gets a little out of hand, I'll just start blocking some of those people. Unfortunately, we've had to do that in the past. Also, don't expect this to become a norm. I've learned from my past mistakes where speculating too much about Star Citizen isn't a great way to go, but making exception here as the next 18 months are going to be very important, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go later on. So let's dive into what we have. This is going to be a longer video also, by the way. So across the top here, basically all that I did was I took everything over here and broke it down into what I found was to be a little more digestible in order to help me later on in some of the speculation. So first we have our income. This is just directly converted over here. We took these numbers down here, put it here. I then matched that up with the expenses right here. That's going to be the red number right here, just to give us a nice pretty graph of roughly year by year how they're doing. And you can see here 2012 they made significantly more. 2013 was a really good year for them. It was really when the game kind of took off and they got a lot of their cash cushion. Since then they've been running mostly flat. This is through 2017 obviously. 2018 has not been revealed yet. In fact, that was one of the reasons I've actually held off on this video for a while, as I was hoping we would get 2018 numbers January, February timeframe. At this point, either they're not going to give us 2018 numbers, they don't have to, or their fiscal year is March 1, which means we might not see the numbers until, you know, March 30th, somewhere in there, late March is when we might see the fiscal numbers. In which case, I'll double dip. I'll make another video to follow up with that. So keep in mind, that's why we are through 2017. Oh, so also another number. These are thousands. So this is 7,262,000. This is 1.145 million. With everything but this total average right there, we'll talk about that here in a very brief moment. Right off the bat, for those that have been following the game for a little while, you're going to notice something a little out of the ordinary. This number right here, total of 207,569,000 end of 2017. If you've been following the crowdfunding of Star Citizen, if we come over here to stretch goals, you might remember they only broke 202 million, 203 million right around CitizenCon, which was November of 2018. Well, that's because this number here takes into account some other finances we had never seen before from Star Citizen. Mainly, scroll back up here, the subscription numbers and other income. And the other income has become a lot more relevant. Now, this other income is going to be things like the joint partnership program they have with Intel for the Optane hard drive, you know, that's going to be some joint income. There's going to be some other partnerships and things that we've not seen before. Some of it could be, I don't know, whatever else. But this number here is kind of what has thrown this all out. And that's kind of why I broke it down a little bit further. So the next section over is I basically just took, literally I just took these numbers here. So 726 or 7,262,28 million, 32 million, the numbers just of the pledge counters. Now, again, if you've been following, that number looks a lot more common. $175 million, that is roughly what they were at, if not exactly what they were at, the end of 2017. We started 2018 sitting about $25 million from the $200 million mark. So this number here, you know, makes a lot more sense than when we put everything into context. For further estimates later on down the line, when we get down to figuring out 2018 numbers, we did the same thing with the subscriptions and with other income going forward. So 2012, 2013, and so on. This staff section right here, honestly, we probably don't need this in this grid chart. I find it just, it was something that I've brought up in the past, watching their staff development grow. So at the end of 2017, they had 464 employees. We know from, I can't remember if it was CitizenCon or the holiday one of the recent videos they talked about, basically at the end of 2018, they were sitting right around 500 employees, just over 500 employees. And we also do know that they're currently hiring more. So this here, join us right here, they have 98 job openings available right now. But we'll talk about that more. We're going to be focusing on the 500 number though for calculating 2018. As that's kind of the closest we know. There's somewhere right around that point for the number of employees they had in 2018. We then do have basic rundown of the salaries, what they paid for in salaries. Again, not really needed. Mainly what we need to know here though is with 464 employees, they spent almost $34 million on salaries. And we take that from coming down here, we can see salaries. So 29,992,000 spent in 2017 on salaries. And because we saw here, right here, for 2017, 464 employees worldwide. We took that number, so we take the 29,464, divide that by 464, and that gives us $64,637 average annual salary. That's company-wide. So that includes the secretary at the front desk. That includes all the QA and everything. That also includes your high-end developers, any salary Chris is drawing for himself, and so on. So that's just kind of what that number is there. We also have an investment of $46 million that came in 2018, late 2018. We're just going to keep this number in mind. For our calculations, we're not actually going to include it anywhere, but when we do get down here towards the bottom and everything, just keep in mind there's another $46 million. Now this money is earmarked. If we click back over here, somewhere in one of these documents here, you can go through. Again, this will all be linked down below. I think it's under this one here. This money is earmarked for not sponsorship, advertising for promotion of Squadron 42. That doesn't mean it's only going to be used for that or it has to be used for that, but that was the stated intention of this money right here in the investment, was that. Okay. Just some fancy graphs showing it off. Like I said here, this is showing their year by year through what we know. This is the total. So we took the 207,193, leaving us with 14,229,000 left over at the end of 2019, give or take. So $14 million extra cash left over. We can see just kind of the pledge income as it's gone through. The pledge income has kind of plateaued right around 35 million. It did climb a little bit more in 2018, but we'll get to that in a bit here. Sub income has been steadily growing by about $500,000 a year, maybe a little bit less than that. No, it's not even $500,000, about 300,000 a year. So 2 million, 2.4, 2.6, 3. So yeah, about 300,000 on average year over year. There was oddballs out in the first 2 years. Again, we'll come back and talk about that a little bit more. So this is what we know. This right here we can just pull directly from this document. There should be no real questions of the accuracy or the validity of this. If they lied on this, I think that would be a crime, because I'm pretty sure this has to do with they revealed this for tax purposes based on this investment right here, because they were selling off 10% of the company. So that's our knowns. All that's great, but it's a year and it's 14 months outdated. So where do we stand at least as of the end of 2018? Well, that's where we have to kind of make some educated guesses. And we're going to be coming down here where we're going to be looking at income. So first thing was figuring out, well, how much money was raised in pledges over the course of 2018. At first, I'd done this by calculating out, basically I went in here, in here month to month. We could see where we're currently sitting at, and then I guessed, as far as I could tell, the accuracy of these numbers here, and I subtracted out January and February. And it brought me to about $38.2 million. But then after I was done with that, I actually came across this right here. So this is Test Squadron. This is the biggest organization right now in Star Citizen. But they have a document here running. And this seems to be updating daily, maybe even less than that. But if we scroll down through here, scroll all the way down, we can see, come on. There's a lot of numbers on this document. Come on. We want to get to December 31st, January 1. Oh, too far. Boy. It's really trying. Here we go. December 2018, total of $37,759,000 raised. So that was the total for the year of 2018, according to this document. Again, when I calculated on myself with best guesses looking at that grid, I was just over $30 million. So, I'm sorry, I was just over $38 million. So that seems to be within $300,000, $400,000 of what I was telling. So this does seem to be accurate, probably more accurate than I have. So to figure out our income, I went ahead and brought this number over, $37,759,000. Then I did an estimate of income from subs. However, in order to do this, I did drop the first 2 years. Basically, look here, we're only dealing with 6 data points, and the subs from 2012 and even 2013, they're such an anomaly out compared to the way the rest of the trend is going. I felt they would skew the data too hard. So I only did 2014 through 2017, which you can see right here. 2014, our 2 million, gave us an average of $2.5 million, which we brought over here. Do keep in mind, though, if this trend continues, this next number, the next sub's probably going to be 3.4, 3.5 million. So this number is a bit of a $500,000 underestimate. So yeah, that number's lowball, if anything. Estimated other income. Basically, we took the same numbers. And again, I excluded 2012, 2013, simply because they seem to be the oddballs out. They would skew data too hard. There's nothing. Well, there's literally none there, and $59,000 here. Excuse me. So we did the same thing over here. We averaged it out, and it looks like roughly $7.76 million. So we brought that over there, giving us an estimated income of 2018 they brought in roughly $48,070,000. We'll add that in down here. So this is just this top graph, this graph right here, copied over, added in with an additional year. Interesting enough, if we look at this, it actually means 2018 was their best year yet. Not drastically more, but they brought in roughly $2 million more than they did in 2016, which was their previous best year. Okay, so we're halfway there. Then we got to do expenses. Well, expenses, while there's a lot more numbers here, it made it a lot harder. So there were 2 things I could figure out with expenses. We could do salaries and then other. The reason I did that was if we look here, under 2014, 2015, we'll see contracted dev costs are very, very high. My guess is this was all of the outsourcing they did for the motion capture stuff. I know eventually they ended up buying their own motion capture studio because it was costing so much, but this would also be things like the Turbine Studios, not Turbine, Turbulent? The guys making the other stuff, some of their costs. I think also some of this numbers, in here, would have been numbers that go into, the voice actors that have been put in the Squadron 42 and all of that. But we can see these numbers here, kind of had a large area, and then they've been going down since then. Likewise, I imagine that publishing and marketing, as we get towards the end of 2019, that's going to grow. So this number is going to become larger as they come in. So basically what I did was I did the average salaries, and then I did the average of these numbers, again, excluding the odd years out, 2014 through 2017. So pulling those numbers over, estimated cost without salaries, was over 2014, 23 million, so on. We take that down, a total of 91.8 million, divide that by 4, gives us an average additional costs beyond salary of basically $23 million in order to do the salary cost for the year. I took this number up here, our average of $64,637,000, multiplied that by 500, or $32.3 million. So we bring those numbers back over here, our 23 million basically, 32 million, gives us a total operating estimated cost that they had in 2018 of $55.3 million. Drop that down here, and best I can tell, end of 2018, they had roughly half as much money as they had at the end of 2019, but they were still in the black by $7 million. Again, this does not include this investment of $46 million, which actually means they were more in the black, like $53 million, but you get the idea. They're still on that side of things. We break that down a little bit further here with these numbers here, and just some other things so you can see their salary costs going up, their expense trend kind of has plateaued out roughly around, so this is expect trend without salaries, roughly around 22 million maybe. It's been going down actually. So there is fluctuation within these numbers, and that's where we're really getting into a lot of speculation. We can make a pretty good estimated guess on 2018. 2019 becomes a whole lot more unknown. Okay, take a deep breath. Now let's go on to pure speculation on my point. This is just going off what I'm seeing here, what I see from the company, some other things like the fact that they're currently looking to hire 98 people and things along those lines. I think 2019 is going to be a year where we see a lot more monetization within Star Citizen. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to completely break what we've been expecting. That doesn't mean they're going to take away ships from no longer being earnable in the PTU, but I think they're going to look at market trends, and they're going to see the money companies like Epic makes off Fortnite selling $10 to $15 liveries. And I think we're going to see a big influx of that. Actually, let's roll back a step. Let's go ahead, let's insert a row here for 2019. All right, so we'll say 2019, and we're just going to ballpark some proposed numbers here. If we see here, we do see a rough trend of we're sitting in the 45 million mark. It's still slowly inching up. 2017 was a low year. Let's say 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8 are good years. Sorry, not good years, good patches. They bring the game along well. Let's say in 3.7, whichever one will be around CitizenCon. Let's say they manage to get the Carrack in a little bit early, and they can sell the Carrack during CitizenCon, and you'll be able to go out and you can right now go get into the Carrack and play around. They're going to have, another 5 concept ships, about 1 a quarter, and then 1, maybe 2 new concepts at CitizenCon. This number realistically could climb to $52 million. We'll take this 38 million we have up here. That number could jump to close to $40 million in pledge income. Then on top of that, the sub income's probably going to go up a little bit more, and there's areas for marketing. So I think, let's say 51 million is a reasonable amount, okay? Over here, we know that money going out for advertising, at least late 2019, is going to go up as they're going to start advertising Squadron 42. We also can look here, we can see, hey, they're looking to add in 98 more jobs. Well, that's 98 more at ballpark-ish $65,000 a year. So that's going to raise our salaries. Let's actually pull a calculator here. So we'll say 65,000 times, that was a minus sign, times 98 people. So another $6.3 million. Probably a little bit low if we actually go to this web page here. Let's use this one and look through here. Most of the openings are not administration. So the administrations are going to be kind of your lower. Yeah, they're going to be cheaper. Their salaries are not going to be as high in general. It depends on if they mean administration like financial administrators or if they mean someone like the front secretary at the desk or whatever. There's a few QA, but in general, these jobs like the art, the engineers, these are going to be a little bit higher, probably closer to $70,000 to $75,000 rather than $65,000. So this number is probably a little low. So figure our salaries is going to go up. Where was our salary cost? 32 million. That's probably going to go up by another, if they would hire everyone in, let's say 6 million. So it's going to take us up to 38 million. We take on our other costs of 22. So see over here, basically what we'll do is we'll just take this number here and we'll make this 38 million, which gives us 60 million cost over here, 959, which actually then puts us in a deficit overall for what they've brought in, again, not including our investments, of roughly $3 million. There's a bunch of ifs in there. One, if you've been following the game, you'll know they've been trying to hire roughly 90 to 100 people for about 4 months now. So these job positions might stay open, which right away pulls $6 million out of that, or let's say pulls $4 million out of it. Maybe they fill 30% of those jobs or whatever. So maybe that only goes up by $3 million. Well, then they're pretty much even. So there's a bunch of different stuff in there that we can speculate on that really makes it difficult to go much beyond that. Okay, so that's kind of the overall. Now back to my thought process about the ships and everything else. One of the things Chris Roberts had said a long time ago was at some point they wanted to stop selling the ships in the storefront. I don't think that's realistically ever going to happen. I think from now on, through whenever the game finally shuts down, either because they run out of money or people have lost interest and stopped playing it, be it 2021 or be it 2031, I think they're going to sell ships forever in the storefront. Now, I still think they're going to hold true, at least I hope they're going to hold true to their method where all ships will be earnable in-game in some way. Some of them are going to be a lot more difficult to earn. They're going to be limited, something like your Idris or whatever. You're not just going to walk up to a store and buy them, but they will be achievable, obtainable within game. So we're going to see more concept ships going up on the marketplace. As I was saying before, though, I think what we're also going to see is a lot more small dollar items. Items they can sell to you from $3 up until $25, $30. Items that people will pick up like, oh yeah, a little piece of candy, and go out that. And each individual one's not all that much, but over the course of 6 months to a year, they might end up spending $300, $500 more than they really thought of beforehand. And so I think a lot of the cosmetics, liveries and stuff, I don't know if they're going to be exclusive to the cash shop, but I think there will be at least some that are exclusive. Similar to if you go into just about any other free-to-play, similar to if you go into any free-to-play game. Star Citizen's not another free-to-play game. It's not free-to-play. It's $45 minimum. But if you go into any free-to-play game where there'll be skins that are earnable and then there'll be premium skins that you have to pay for, I think we're going to see some of that. In fact, we're already kind of seeing that. If we come in here, go under, let's see, expand this over, go into the store. I forgot how to operate their website. Extras, and then subscriber exclusives. You'll see here they're already selling $12 for a full set of red armor. So the chest, the legs, the arms, helmet, and then undersuit comes out to $12. $12 for the purple. Livery skins down here for this. But these little $3 to $5 things are something people will pick up and go. So I think we'll see this expand out, and I think we will see ones that aren't subscriber exclusive go out. So both ship liveries, that. We're also going to see, I think, like bobbleheads in ships, perhaps different LED like lights. Rather than your lights being white or whatever, they'll be red. Maybe your interior lights, you can change the color of your lights or stuff. I think stuff like that is going to go into the shop. In fact, it's oddly weird. We know the 300 reworks coming in like 4 weeks. We also know the Banner Defenders coming in 4 weeks. They haven't really shown those ships much, have they? And I think that's because somewhere here in the next 3 weeks, there's going to be a big reveal for a storefront overhaul where when you go in to buy a ship, you're going to go in here and you're going to be like, okay, I want this ship right here. Let's see, we'll take the Avenger. When you come in here, rather than it just be like, yes, buy the Avenger, which apparently isn't up, no, right here, rather than just be here, add cart, what it's going to be is it's going to be more like being at a car dealership website where you select the model, then you select the paint scheme, and then you select a whole bunch of other stuff. And the paint scheme will add on another $5, $10, whatever, maybe $3 in order to just get more out of that. And that would be if you buy the cash one. So that's what I think they're really going to do. In addition to that, I think we are going to see a lot more, not a lot more, but more third-party peripherals. We already know they're coming out with a face over IP, their own webcam that's tied in with things. I think we're going to see that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a return of the Star Citizen specific HOTAS. There originally was one in the designs in the works with Mad Catz, and then Mad Catz went bankrupt, and that kind of went away. But I think now that we've gotten the new flight system in, I think they will look to make a premium flight setup that works great for Star Citizen, either dual joystick and HOTAS, so 3 input controllers plus maybe a keyboard, maybe a multifunction display that adapts right into the game. I think we will see some stuff like that come along, and some of that will be tied into them. I wouldn't be surprised to see some Amazon specific things. They're using Lumberyard, which is Amazon. They're also using Amazon Web Services for their servers and stuff, some of their backend and stuff. So I think we'll see more of that, some type of promotion with Amazon that'll come in to add in more funds. And all this is leading up to, basically, they got to get Squadron 42 out. They need to get enough funding between now and mid to late 2020 to get Squadron 42 out the door. And if Squadron 42 is a 7.5 out of 10 for the average person, it's going to change the outlook of everything about Star Citizen. There'll be a lot of people that have been watching from outside and just vaporware and all this stuff. Well, now here is a delivered, 25, 30-hour experience, maybe even 12-hour experience for $45, where they can see it, they can get into a play, and maybe it's not perfect. Let's be realistic about Star Citizen. It might not be perfect, but it'll be a tangible, complete product, right? And if it's a 7 to 8 out of 10 in terms of ratings and stuff, well, then there's gonna be a lot of people like, well, yeah, there were problems, but I enjoyed that. So now I'm interested in Star Citizen. Let's see. I'd like to do that experience, but with my friends rather than with a bunch of AI, or with my friends and AI. So that could add in. And that's where everything kind of comes together for me. This $46 million, they say it's for the marketing of Star Citizen. Well, it doesn't make sense marketing unless it's completed. So this $46 million plus whatever they can bring in over the next year. And let's just say maybe this number here, right here, isn't all that realistic, 51 million. Maybe it's 48 million again, right? So we do that. We're still, if they make $48 million in 2018, when you add this money in here, they're still able to easily get into mid 2020 and be liquid. They still have the funding they need to finish and launch and release Squadron 42. The only real hang up I see is if Squadron 42 is not capable to be finished in the next 18 to 20 months. If Squadron 42 is still 3 years, or Squadron 42 Episode 1 is still 3 years away, then things get a lot more concerning. I'm not quite to the point where I would say things are dire if that's the situation, because there's some things we need to look at. If we look at our trends here, right here, for a company that hasn't released an actual live product, they're pretty flat. Their in versus out is pretty darn good. If we look down here, even if we project out, they're still relatively flat. For a company that's been around for 7 years to have, we think roughly, let's get rid of 2019 here, delete, to have, we think, roughly $7 million of liquid cash left over after 7 years, that's not bad. Furthermore, this company up here did not invest $46 million without thoroughly going through everything RSI has, everything CIG has, sorry. They went through all their finances, they went over how far along the game was, and if they were willing to put up $46 million to do the quote-unquote promotion of it, it means they've seen Squadron 42 in its current state, and they have faith that it will be shipping somewhere in 2020, let's say mid-2020. Now, there is a counter-argument there a little bit. So they got 10% of CIG for this $46 million. That 10% is estimated at $500 million. That means overall the company is evaluated at $500 million. realistically, this was a super good investment for them. If I had this type of money and I had that option, I would take that any day. That's about as safe of a bet as you can probably get to. You know, $460 million to possibly for a value of $1 billion. You got to look at the books and everything else. But they did not risk. It's not like they put up $150 million for $500 million. No, they put up less than $50 million for the potential of $500 million. So there's definitely some points in there where you say, well, yeah, $46 million is a lot of money, but for what their potential return could be, it's not that much. So there is that argument there. The other reason, though, I'm kind of positive on it is this right here, back on this page right here, looking at the number of positions. And this is going to be dependent on your outlook on Star Citizen, Chris Roberts, how the company's been run here. If you think Chris Roberts is a bad businessman, a swindler who's just been taking our money and wasting it on his own dream, his wet dream of this space game or whatever, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, well, there's just more evidence of it. They're basically at $0, and he's still trying to hire 100 more people. And I don't have a counter argument to that, other than I look at this, and when I see this, to me I say, okay, Chris Roberts really wants to get this done. Someone out there knows that if need be, they can get more funding. They're not going to hire 100 more people and then in 6 months be like, oh, we're out of money. Later, suckers, we don't care. Sorry, you're out of jobs, no pensions, nothing, no separation pay, nothing like that. To me, if they're still looking to add on 98 more jobs, it means to me they have more companies lined up out there that if this funding number down here dries up, if this year they only make $6 million, $8 million in pledge money, they have some other money lined up that they just need to say, yes, we accept that deal. Here's 12% of our company for $80 million. Here's 20% of our company for $120 million. They have those people lined up. They're going to go as far as they can off the backers, keep as much of the company control as they can, and then only in dire situations would they sell this off. That's what I personally think is going on. Oh, said a lot here, guys. So we're wrapping up at this point. Basically, these numbers in here are why I think the storefront, the marketplace, is going to be overhauled. There's going to be a bigger push for a lot more small costs. I believe the ships are going to stay in. We're always going to be able to buy ships, plus earn them in game. And I think, overall, I look at these numbers, and while I'm not super excited about it, I see a flat trend, a company that's basically operating on what they're bringing in, maybe a little under that, but they have investment options to offset that. And literally, as soon as Squadron 42 ships, if it's even remotely good, they go from kind of just a little bit in the red to well in the black. If Squadron 42 is a moderate success, it's a proof of concept. I think that changes everything out. It does mean the next 18-ish months through mid-2020, late 2020 are going to be very important. But I'm confident in the product I'm seeing. And I think, at least for me personally, if not so much, well, if 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 are good patches, if we start to see persistence in the universe by the end of 2018, by the end of 2019, and we start to see some persistence, things along those lines, I'm ecstatic for what this game could become, and I see myself spending more and more money on it, despite how crazy that might sound to some people. But it's an experience that I've been thoroughly enjoying, and I don't regret any of the money I've put in so far. Alright, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Try and keep it civil. Like I said, if things get too crazy, you might end up muted. It's okay to attack points. Look here and say, oh, I disagree with that there. Don't attack the people. That's a little bit out of what we need to be doing here. Well, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Until next time, this has been Power.